Hi, this is Faxi Nadu, and I want to show you a little bit how I work. I'm going to start just starting a new track, and I had some fun ideas for this new track, and I wanted to share them with you. You won't be hearing exactly the process and everything I'm going to do to this track, just the basic idea. And there are two main things about what I plan to do with this track. The first thing is to use the Korg R3, which is a pretty cool, pretty new synthesizer on the market, just a few years on the market. And one of the features that it has is a vocoder, which is to many people a vocoder is kind of lame. You know, it's associated with really cheesy pop music, and with that really overused robotic kind of vocoder sound. And I was thinking to do something else, to use the vocoder for a little bit of a different thing. I'm not Columbus or anything. I didn't discover America or anything like that, but it's just I think it's a cool thing to do, is to use this vocoder to control basically the timbre and the filters and the sound of the synthesizer, but to basically use it to make like a sort of a pad, organic kind of pad sound that is controlled with your mouth. And we're going to do another cool thing, is we're not only going to control the vocoder with our mouth, we're also going to control it with the other sounds of the track. We're going to put the microphone to the monitor, and what it's going to pick up, it's a shitty Korg microphone, and it serves us well in this purpose, because if it was a better microphone, it might have been more sensitive. It's just sensitive enough that it picks up some of the beats, some of the hits, and translates them into a processed signal that affects the vocoder. And we're going to do it with the volume button as well. We're going to adjust the sensitivity of the microphone. It comes out pretty cool. And the second cool thing about this track that we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, before that, the vocoder sound, it's just a basic little, kind of like a half chord, a two-note chord. Not this one. This one, just a two-note chord, do and re diez, and another lower do, just to get a little more of a fatter bass sound. So that's what's coming from Logic. And here we have Rebirth, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember this funny little program. That's the second cool thing I want to do in this track, is to use this new technology with this old technology, so to speak, right? Rebirth has been around for ages, I guess, maybe 12 years, something like that, I don't know, around 2000, maybe even earlier. It's basically got two TB clones, TR-88, TR-909 clone. It might not be the best sounding thing ever or in the world or whatever, you know, but it can do some pretty cool things. So we're going to have a bass line, we're going to have a TB sort of line that's like fucked up with delay and filter pattern and distortion and all that crap. And just the basic, you know, 808 bass drum, 808 hi-hat, 909 hi-hat, 909 snare. And just want to show you, I mean, of course, I'm going to be routing them later on to different channels, recording every single one of these channels separately, recording the R3 channel separately, adding stuff from whatever you see here. But that's just the basic idea for the track. And it's gonna go a little something like this, right? Here we have the bass line coming in. Of course, we can put some EQ, distortions, everything on the separate channels afterwards. and that's the basic idea. I mean, from here you can go on and on and on, you know, changing the TV patterns, playing around with all the various knobs, recording. I mean, you know the drill. From here on in, just adding loads and loads and loads of stuff, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool track. I'll get back to you with the finished track, and let's see what the future will bring. Okay, we're back to the track. What you've seen before is me fiddling around with the R3 and with Rebirth, and right now the track is in the current situation is that I have the Rebirth channels recorded as well as edited. You know, sometimes the snap is not right, so everything goes into SoundForge, snap perfectly, and then right back to the Logic Arrange as audio pieces. Channels named, everything is nice and neat, and we got a nice nice, actually it's 8 4-bar loops, just a loop going on. We can of course mute whatever, you know, all the usual stuff. And then we got the R3 channel, which with the vocoder, you know, that we looked at before. It's a little bit dirty, so of course it's not going to stay this way in the track itself. It's either going to get cleaned or cut or re-recorded. I already have everything. I have the preset saved here, so if I want to record it again or do something different or use a different groove to manipulate the vocoder, I can do that as well. Right now I just left the channel right here. Actually it's muted, and so what I have is basically the drums and the TV bass line running. So the next step, I have here my Novation K Station, which is a really cool synth. I highly recommend it to anyone looking basically at any type of synth. You know, if you're looking for a first synth in the studio or for an addition to other stuff that you got, it's a perfect little machine. Good size, not too small, not too big, lots of knobs, lots of manipulation, and a good sound. So what I want to do with this synth right now is just to get a really basic arpeggiated type of sound. Nothing fancy whatsoever. I have here, I've started from the first preset, from just a really basic sound, just like a bump, just a hit, without any. I like to start with this preset because it has no modulations and nothing going on really, so you can quickly design whatever sound you're looking for. So basically what I did here, I went to the first oscillator, just really simple stuff, you know, it's 2 oscs, both of them on saw. First osc detuned -12, second osc detuned to +12. Sounds like this on a higher octave. Lower octaves you start to get much grungier, and of course you can open the filter and you get a really cool kind of basic arpeggiated line that's you know, going to be just one of the channels, simple channel but really effective, and yeah, that's just what I want in the mix. So I got it all set up. This is the arpeggiated line. Basically it's a 1-note arp, you know, on the basic track note. And we're going to record it straight into Logic, playing with some modulations. Going to try to throw a little pitch bend in there, you know. It's basically, for me, it's a typical Faxi Nadu type of line, especially with this synth. I wanted to share it with you. So here we go. We got ourselves a nice arp loop. Basically I just wanted 4 bars, and I got a little more here. It was kind of cool what I did. I should have actually snapped it perfectly and recorded actually 4 more bars. Maybe I'll do that just now, maybe I won't. First I have to check what I have in the recording. I could always take, you know, these 2 bars and multiply them again and again and start cutting and fucking them up really nicely. Let's see what the next step will be. So this is the Novation K Station already in there. I think Next we'll have the Nord modular doing some random crazy noises. Okay, again, we're back with the track. As you can see, it's pretty much done. Loads of channels. It's in totally different condition than it was when we last checked in, when we last recorded the video. I was meaning to do many more videos on the way to show the whole process, but I was so immersed in actually making the track that we kind of forgot all about it. But I will show you a little bit what came out of this project, and just a little bit what's going on inside the tracks themselves. So basically this track, compared to most of my other tracks, most of my other work, I don't want to say minimalistic, because minimal today is associated with a certain genre, but it's minimalistic in relation to what I usually do. A little bit less sounds, and maybe not just the fact that it's there's a little bit there's less sounds. The usage, I let certain segments play out without bothering them too much. Where I did do tons of edit work and lots of little changes is the drums, which is basically the way I work. Is I try to usually, I already know I'll have tons of drum channels, so I group them together. Usually I kind of have them on top of my sequence. I usually just drop the kick at like channel 15 and then work my way towards the top with the drums. That way I always know where my drums are, and after I leave some open, some free channels, and after I record my bass line, I usually stick it right under the kick. And then it's really easy to edit your whole rhythm section, because you can zoom in and you see exactly what is going on as far as what is hitting where, what's going on where, and everything, and especially useful after you start to make loads of cuts into your track. You can really follow what's going on, as opposed to, let's say, if I had my kick over here, my bass over here, and my one hi-hat over here, one hi-hat over there. You could still do it all by ear, but of course, especially when you work many consecutive hours, your ears are kind of messed up, and it's really good to have a nice visual reference. You can work quicker that way. So basically I had, before you did see, I had my drums, at least I had loops recorded, just 4-bar loops. These, I do not play these loops afterwards in the track. They will never stay this way. I record these loops just to have the basic sound, so I know I'm making psytrance, right? So I know I'm going to have a 4x4 kick, and a snare drum on every other beat and stuff like that. So I record it that way. And I think it's a really big advantage of working with audio, like I'll show you in a minute, as opposed to leaving stuff in MIDI, is again, that you have everything right in front of your face. You can drag, you can cut, you can reverse, you can manipulate audio in any kind of way. I'm on Logic 5, but for example, if you're a Cubase Essex user, it's totally awesome. You can go to every single beat, right click, and put an effect on it without doing too much to the mix, which brings me to the second point. Is if you look at the mix itself, okay, this is not the sound design, this is the mix of the track, and I say this because if you look at the effect that I've used in the mix, every single one of them is a native Logic effect. There's no VST in this entire track, no plugins, it's just really simple stuff. Fat EQ, high cut, reverb now and there. If I did not have it in the recording chain, then I might have it in the mix. Might not, but in this case I do. EQ, compressor, sometimes I'll have huge chains, but it's basically just the same thing over and over again, just taking care of having a clean mix. In the mix itself, I try not to go into sound design. I do that all with my audio pieces, with my synths, with effects from the Scope platform, and in the mix itself, I just, like I said. Another thing is that you might see huge chains, weird little chains. You could see EQ, compressor, another compressor, like EQ, another compressor, EQ, like really weird chains, and you might say, like, that is really bad gain structure, opposed to conventional wisdom, which says that you should not have such a big effects chain because it could degrade your signal. But the way I see things, if you work in a digital environment, this is not like, it's not like I'm taking external effect units and pulling, you know, a cable from a digital delay that is converting the signal to audio, and then to like some audio filter, sorry, analog filter, and then to another digital machine. And of course that would degrade your signal eventually, but if you put effects in a good modern DAW, you know, you're working with 24 bits, I don't see it as a problem. You know, you do whatever you need to do to get a good sound. And sometimes if you need to multi-chain compressors, you know, because you want to first compress a certain part of the signal, or you might want to compress the whole signal and then another part, and you might want to put EQs in between because different compensations for what the compressors are doing. To me, it's all good, you know, and it contributes to a good sound, I think. Okay, so looked at the mix, we looked at the drum sections, a little bit about the synths. If you remember, first we had that the first line was from the Novation K station, which was sitting over here, no longer here because everything was flying around working on the track. This line did make it into the mix. It's sitting somewhere in here. Other than that, I have a few more lines from the K station, some bells, you know. This is just a little stab that is basically just to answer these bells. They go nicely together. And then we have this thing. All the effects, they mostly come from the scope platform. Again, simple stuff, delays, EQs, filters. Here we have a line from the Korg R3, very typical line. I think I might have actually, you know, taken a preset, messed around with it just a little bit from the R3. And then we have, this is Nord Modular. All the Nord Modulars I build by myself. But again, it's simple stuff, you know, it's an oscillator, FMing another oscillator, and nothing too fancy. So here we have the whole track. It's a finished track. Came out around 7 minutes. A lot of Rebirth made it in there, and all the other stuff that I've shown you. I hope in the future to show you a little bit more about the way I work, but you do get a little bit of a touch of my philosophy, you know, about making psytrance music. Thanks for having a look. Hope you enjoy the track. Look for it.